Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a completely wild 24 hours of global news, specifically from May 9th, 2026. We're going to break down exactly how 15 massive but seemingly isolated stories actually weave together to paint a picture of a world in absolute flux. So if you want to understand the shifting ground beneath our feet right now, you are definitely in the right place.
Here is our roadmap through the chaos today. We'll kick things off with war, peace, and diplomacy, look at some urgent crises around the globe, shift gears into the economy and tech, and then wrap up with society, law, and milestones. Let's get right into it.
First up, Act 1, War, Peace, and Diplomacy. So right now, the global stage is literally a tale of two extremes. On one hand, we've got a massive diplomatic breakthrough. President Trump just took to Truth Social to announce a temporary 3-day ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, running from May 9th through the 11th. But you contrast that directly with what is happening elsewhere, and it's a completely different story. Hostilities are tragically accelerating. In southern Lebanon, state media is reporting at least 21 people have been killed in Israeli air raids in the Tyre district, which obviously calls regional stability into serious question. And to add to that, an Iranian foreign ministry spokesperson has just flat out dismissed President Trump's one-week ultimatum to accept a peace framework. It's a lot to process. Now, going back to that Russia-Ukraine ceasefire, the reality of it rests on one crucial number: 1,000. This deal isn't just a simple pause in the shooting. It actually includes a reciprocal exchange of 1,000 prisoners from each side. And why this matters so much is that analysts are viewing this specific, tangible exchange as arguably the most significant step we've seen to date toward actually ending that devastating conflict. But, there's always a hidden layer, right? U.S. intelligence reports are showing that Russia is actually utilizing this exact pause in the fighting to actively ship drone components to Iran across the Caspian Sea. The intel indicates this is a highly calculated effort to help Tehran reconstitute its missile and drone capabilities while the heat is off. It really just goes to show how hitting the pause button in one theater of war can directly fuel the military logistics of another. And as those military alliances shift and resupply, we are also seeing some huge moves on the diplomatic front. U.S. President Trump has landed in Beijing for a really high-stakes summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping. They aren't just discussing one issue here. They are attempting to negotiate a comprehensive peace plan for the Iran war, alongside heavy economic issues like trade tariffs and, of course, the ever-sensitive topic of regional security in Taiwan. We are literally watching the major powers attempt to draw up an entirely new framework for global security and economics in real time.
Moving right along to Act 2, Crises Around the Globe.
The sheer scale of the deepening hunger crisis in Somalia it's absolutely staggering. The World Food Program just issued a really dire warning today that 6.5 million people in Somalia are currently experiencing crisis-level food insecurity. It is one of those numbers so large it can be hard to wrap your head around, but it represents an immediate, massive humanitarian emergency unfolding right now.
So what's driving this catastrophe? It's a devastating combination: severe environmental drought compounding with ongoing regional conflict. It is a textbook example of how climate disasters and instability act as multipliers for human suffering, leaving a subset of 2 million of those people facing outright emergency-level hunger conditions. Meanwhile, let's shift our focus over to Europe, where an escalating public health crisis is unfolding right off the coast. The World Health Organization is racing to manage a deadly viral outbreak, issuing a direct response to Tenerife, Spain. A cruise ship, the MV Hondias, has docked there, carrying an outbreak of the Andes strain of hantavirus. And tragically, 3 fatalities have already been confirmed on board. It is a really stark reminder of our global interconnectedness and how rapidly health emergencies can travel. And speaking of environmental mysteries, we have an urgent question that remains totally unanswered. What exactly caused the massive oil slick spreading near Iran's Karg Island? Satellite imagery captured between May 6th and 8th revealed this enormous slick spreading right near their primary export terminal. The cause remains completely unconfirmed right now. Experts are sharply divided, wondering if this is the resulting damage from recent military strikes in the region, or maybe just the catastrophic failure of aging infrastructure. Either way, the environmental and economic implications for the region's oil exports are going to be massive.
Let's pivot over to Act 3, Shifts in Economy and Tech.
So why does this next part matter to you? Well, in global finance, the U.S. Senate just confirmed Kevin Warsh as the new chair of the Federal Reserve, taking over from Jerome Powell. This pretty much guarantees we're going to see some direct shifts in monetary policy and borrowing rates during a time of crazy economic volatility. And concurrently in the sector of future labor, China is showing off an advanced new generation of humanoid robots designed specifically for factory labor and domestic chores. So while one move shifts the fundamental cost of money, the other is a clear signal of Beijing's aggressive push for technological dominance and a massive impending pivot in global manufacturing labor. Talk about a double whammy. And finally, that brings us to Act 4, Society, Law, and Milestones. Amidst all the chaos today, we are actually seeing some significant attempts at normalization and celebration. Over in Europe, the EU is marking Europe Day, specifically celebrating the 40th anniversary of Portugal and Spain joining the Union. In some highly watched royal news, the Princess of Wales has traveled to Italy. This marks her very first official international trip since her cancer diagnosis, signaling a really welcome and hopeful return to public duties. Plus, on the diplomatic front, the French presidency announced it is sending its ambassador back to Algeria, officially restoring diplomatic ties and attempting to thaw a tense year-long freeze. But then, we get this complete legal bombshell that literally no one saw coming today. The South Carolina Supreme Court has unanimously overturned the murder convictions of Alex Murdaugh. Yes, you heard that right. They have ordered an entirely new trial for the highly publicized 2021 killings of his wife and son. It completely upends one of the most high-profile and scrutinized murder convictions of the entire decade. And finally, wrapping up with a shocking and tragic domestic incident, a severe security breach occurred at Denver International Airport today. An intruder somehow managed to exploit a weakness in the airport's technical operations perimeter, which unfortunately resulted in a fatality right out on the runway. It's an incident that is immediately exposing some absolutely critical security vulnerabilities at one of the nation's major transit hubs. Looking at all the pieces on the board today, from an unprecedented exchange of 1,000 prisoners and the race to contain a cruise ship outbreak, to humanoid robots entering the workforce and completely overturned legal verdicts, the sheer volume of change happening in a single day is breathtaking. So I'll leave you to ponder this. As these interconnected shifts rewrite the rules of geopolitics, economics, and society in real time, what do these changes truly mean for our shared future? Are we witnessing a temporary pause or the beginning of a completely new global era? Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.